Welcome back to another edition of Zero Blog 30. Today we have 3 rounds of the magazine. Round number 1, we're going to talk about a master sergeant. Nope, a chief master sergeant and
Potato.
chief master sergeant in the Navy. She was the head of one of the ships, and she got in big trouble through Elon Musk's Starlink. You know Starlink?
Yeah,
so she was using that bad boy. She was not supposed to be using that bad boy, and all the others in the chief mess, which is the E7s and above.
Okay.
All of them on a whole ass ship got in trouble for being internet goofers. Number 2, we are going to talk about, what was number 2 today? We are going to talk, fucking Jonny Kim. Back at it again. Jonny Kim, man. He's doing it.
Doctor, lawyer, candlestick maker.
Yeah. If you haven't heard of Jonny Kim, wait till we get to round 2. I honestly believe he might be the most fuckable person in American history.
I was going to say the most accomplished person, but again, potato.
But fuckable, right? Like,
with respect and
the
consent.
things that are on his resume, I feel like you get the chance to fuck any of them, and you probably do it.
I got to say, though, doesn't appeal to me because I know he'd probably be sad if he had to bang me.
Don't say that, Kate.
No, I'm gonna say it.
That's counting.
I'm gonna say it. I feel like he's got higher standards than
no,
me.
But
I like myself okay.
He was at one point. He was an enlisted Navy guy.
He bettered himself?
But at that time, when he's 24-year-old Kim and you're 23-year-old Kate,
I still think he had a different kind of chutzpah in him, because now he's what? Astronaut, lawyer, doctor.
No, not a lawyer.
The lawyer part.
No,
well, he's gonna
not
be.
a lawyer. I mean, he might as well. Yeah, he could probably take that up when he's in space. But we're going to be talking about that, and then we're going to get into the news about what's been dominating the military news once again, and it's something with political tie-ins. President Trump going to Arlington National Cemetery, and then the online stuff started to happen once again.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. Cons is out today. He's doing dad stuff. Yep. He was at the Barstool Classic earlier, so it's just me and Catherine. Katie, let's get into what's going on this ship.
Yes. And to preface it, when you're on a ship or you're way out in the boonies, like for us, when we were deployed and we were in certain locations in Afghanistan, we had no contact with the outside world.
Yeah.
And when you got a little nugget from the outside, a tasty little morsel of gossip, J-Lo's dating who now?
J-Lo, that.
A lot of celebrity death rumors that turned out to not be true, but the whole camp would be mourning the loss of
Katy Perry. Michael Jordan.
That was a big one. Michael Jordan died 10 times on my deployment.
The guys that were from like Bulls Fan, Chicago area, Illinois people, in shambles.
Yep, in shambles. So, but any real nugget, getting a magazine sent to you that was within the last 4 months.
People, us, and not, it wasn't magazines that you would think. It was like pop culture magazines.
Oh, yeah. And we ate that shit up. So kind of in that vein, just to let you know how like desperate people are for outside info when you're in a really isolated spot. That's where we're coming from here.
Yeah.
Today's Navy sailors are likely familiar with the jarring loss of internet connectivity that can come with a ship's deployment. For a variety of reasons, including operational security, #OPSEC, a crew's internet access is regularly restricted while underway to preserve bandwidth for the mission and to keep their ship safe from nefarious online attacks.
One of my favorite words.
Nefarious. Great word. You could tell the troops 10,000 times, hey, we're going to a super secret area. Don't post anything dumb that gives us away. And the second that meeting is adjourned, 15 people are going to post exactly where they are.
Well, there was like outposts,
not even on purpose.
There was outposts like near the Syrian border when that conflict was really going on, that they had to tell people, what the hell are you doing? Because they had like the track my run thing.
Yes.
People were using their apps to track my runs and giving like the exact perimeter of the base that they were occupying. Yep. Like they would go, and that kind of stuff happened all the time.
Yep.
That's how they found Russian units.
We're over the border. And yeah, so whether you mean it or not, the troops at any rank simply cannot be trusted sometimes with internet access.
Yeah.
But in this case, on this ship, senior enlisted leaders among the littoral combat ship Manchester's Gold crew knew no such privation last year when they installed and secretly used their very own Wi-Fi network during a deployment. This is from the Navy Times.
Do you know what Wi-Fi stands for?
Wireless Financial Times.
It doesn't stand for anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Just sounds cool.
Yeah, I just found that out on Jeopardy.
Out on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Hi-fi, lo-fi, Wi-Fi. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Sounds cool. As the ship prepared for a West Pacific deployment in April of 2023, the enlisted leader on board. Oh, I was hoping to be an officer. Fuck,
yeah,
of course.
no.
Oh, you little minx.
No.
Oh, you little rascal. It almost makes me like this person. Though.
I like him, yeah.
You got to be a little shady to make it that high in the enlisted leader on board conspired with the ship's chiefs to install the secret, unauthorized network aboard the ship for use exclusively by them. I would say probably for tugging it.
Big time. Like this article doesn't say it. They're like, oh, they wanted to check sports score. No, they wanted to look at a rogue titty.
If I had to guess.
Yeah.
So while the rank and file sailors lived without the level of internet connectivity they enjoyed ashore, the chiefs installed a Starlink satellite internet dish on the top of the ship and used a Wi-Fi network they dubbed Stinky to check. Now we know what kind of porn they were into.
Yeah.
To check sports scores, text home, and stream movies. The enjoyment of those wireless creature comforts by enlisted leaders aboard the ship carried serious repercussions for the security of the ship and its crew. I would use that for gambling. I would come up to the lower enlisted and be like, say the Bears won a game they weren't supposed to win. And I'd be like, I know we won't be able to watch this game until we're in port 2 days from now. I bet everything on my life that they're going to win, that they won today. I don't know, but I bet. And then I take all their money.
Yeah.
It'd be great. Oh, it was a lady. Oh,
yeah.
It was a lady.
Yeah.
Oh, what a treat.
Yeah.
Okay, my whole thing is flipped on this.
Yeah.
At first, I thought this is a great.
I'm excited to watch you go down this little hole.
I'm a little proud of her. Oh, led by the senior enlisted leader of the ship's Gold True, then Command Senior Chief Grizel Marrero. The effort roped in the entire chief's mess by the time it was uncovered a few months later. Marrero was relieved in late 2023 after repeatedly misleading and lying to her ship's command about the Wi-Fi network. And she was convicted at court-martial this spring in connection to the scheme. Ladies, we've all had to lie about our stinky from time to time. This is part of the game. She was so dumb. She was sent.
Oh, stinky liar.
She was sentenced to a reduction in rank to E7 after the trial and did not respond to requests for comment on this report. But records released so far show the probe, which wrapped in November, found the entire chief's mess knew about the secret system. I'm not going to lie. Now I'm back into this is concerning.
Why? The stinky?
No, they were all in on it, man.
No, that's what I like.
That's kind of bad.
I mean, they are all bad. But I also feel like this is one of those things which her job is like I think it's going to come up later, but it's counter intel. Like information security is part of that.
Yeah.
Like to be doing that in a spot where you don't know how encrypted it is. I don't know anything about Starlink, so it might be very encrypted, but I would imagine it's not encrypted enough.
Probably not.
To be right there.
But at the same time, good for morale, it seems. And they all did get together to really make this lie happen. Records show the probe, which found every chief, basically, the entire chief's mess.
It legit, not just it was everyone, because they'll go down. That's basically like kind of the article, but they had to pay $2,800 for this Starlink high performance kit, and they did it on a personal credit card. They contacted Starlink to expedite the shipping system, which how do you do like 2-day shipping to a ship that's not in port?
Yep.
They have plans that are $90,000 to $5,000 a month. And the craziest part is that the payments were auto drafted from the ship's petty officer association treasurer, collected all the money, and it just came out of that account.
So like everyone was in cahoots, and it says there, even since they all knew, not all of them participated in using it, even though they knew. And even the people who knew but didn't participate also got in trouble and got NJP'd, it looks like. Marrero served as gatekeeper of the system, record show, downloading and maintaining Starlink app from her phone. And again, naming it Stinky. I'm impressed. I'm glad we're breaking the glass ceiling on mass enlisted crime. Finally, I feel like we've been a little behind the ball on that. So good for you on that. But also not the best for OPSEC, perhaps, that everybody knew it was wrong and was like, we're still going to do this because we need that.
And the story behind her getting in trouble, it's so funny too, because she's trying to hide her steps. But I mean, they took it out of the official, like the Chief Petty Officer Association's debit card. It's an account that's so established that they have their own
beautiful enlisted
debit card to do this, and they tried to figure it out. And at first, like, it was kind of going in a loop because nobody had like where the money was coming from. So they were trying to figure it out. Eventually, they came across her name, and the CEO texted her and was like, "Hey, I need you to come to my office. We need to talk about Stinky."
But that was a bad feeling.
But it can't, like, we got to talk about Stinky. Imagine getting that text message. And then they have, because she was the one in this that was leading the investigation, because in her role, she was one of the like senior enlisted advisors. So the commanding officer is telling her what she needs to be looking for.
Yep.
That's the reason why she was busted down. Like, I don't think because it's hard to bust down an E9, E8. It's hard, and commanders don't want to do that, because then you're busting down the enlisted person that's your right-hand man or woman.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Damn. Crazy.
And so she started texting all the other people, "They got me. I'm going in." Like, she's going to the clink.
And then they all had to know they were going down too in some way or another.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, another one, when they were doing the investigation, they had a whole chief's mess that was in there together. And one of the chiefs was essentially like, "I am Spartacus." Like, he was like, "I'm going to take the blame." And like the other ones were like, "Dude, you don't even use it. Like, why are you doing this? You don't even use it. And you're throwing your career under. It's different if you like left the kennels unlocked, like my Marines used to do. This is totally different."
Wild. Do you think this speaks to the generational difference in the military now? Like, it sucked to go without internet or whatever, but we survived, and we were pumped if we got like a 5 months old Us magazine. And now to go to this length, like, is it this generation like cannot be without their phones and their internet and their whatever? Like, the thirst for it, do you think it's greater than ours was?
I mean, maybe if it wasn't the Chiefs mess that was doing it. Like, if it was the Lance Corporal or below, like the E3 and below underground or E4 and below, I could see that. But I think it's just chiefs that are used to being able to do, by and large, what they wanted to.
Yeah.
Because from what I understand about like the Staff NCO Corps and the Army and like the other branches of service is important. I don't think any other branch acts the way they do about their senior enlisted people like the Navy does.
Yeah.
Like, the Chiefs mess is a big deal to be a part of. And maybe they think that they're untouchable because they're wearing khakis.
Shit don't stinky.
Yeah, their shit don't stinky, and it do stinky, Kate. It do stinky. All right, let's move on to round number 2. Old Jonny Kim.
Yes. Navy SEAL, Harvard Medical School trained physician, and astronaut Jonny Kim is scheduled to serve as a flight engineer aboard an upcoming space mission next year, NASA recently announced. So before, I didn't realize like you can be an astronaut before you ever go to space.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
I think it's like a job, right? Like, it's just a job title.
You're training for it. I wonder if it's like back in the day, you were a Marine and they'd be like, "Who here is deployed?" And you felt so dumb when you didn't get to raise your hand yet.
Yeah.
And you like wanted to go. I wonder if it's the same with the astronauts.
I bet it's kind of like, you know what the military equivalent it is? You know, when somebody will be like, "Oh, I'm a Ranger." Well, are you tab or squirrel?
Yeah.
Like, where it's like, did you just go to the school or did you serve in the 75th Ranger?
He was a pogue astronaut. Now he's a grunt astronaut.
Yeah,
he's,
right.
Right. Lieutenant Commander Kim is expected to be launched into space March 2025, along with Roscosmos cosmonauts.
Yeah, so they got some Russian dudes that are going up there with them.
Oh, so we're still hanging out with them in space. All cool.
Yeah, International Space Station.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense, right? Like, they're a huge adversary, except for science stuff.
Yeah. As part of his space mission, Kim will conduct scientific investigations and other tasks to help prepare the space station's crew for future missions. Side note, are those 2 astronauts still stuck up there?
Yeah.
That sucks.
And I think they're using like Starlink and SpaceX to try to get them down.
Yeah, there's these 2 astronauts who, I'm paraphrasing this and getting it fucking wrong.
No, I love that.
2 American astronauts.
Mm-hmm.
Boeing was like, "Here's your little capsule to come back down." And NASA was like, "Don't get in that capsule. Boeing has fucked it up. It's not right. Things are not." Boeing's like, "No, it's fine. Come in the capsule and come back down." And they're like, "No, it needs a bunch of shit fixed on it." And they're like, and NASA's like,
Boeing's
"No, don't do
fucking up."
Boeing's like, "I promise you it's fine." Yeah. And NASA was like, "We strongly recommend." Now, I could have that all wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's
No, I believe you.
Anyway, To say that Kim's resume is impressive would be a vast understatement. He served as enlisted Navy SEAL, later commissioned as he was a SEAL too. Fuck.
Yeah. Multiple deployments, a Silver Star recipient.
Yep. Then an officer, dual design naval aviator, and flight surgeon. He holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of San Diego, went on to graduate Harvard Medical School, interned with affiliated emergency medicine residency at Massachusetts General Hospital with Brigham and Women's Hospital. These are like world-renowned hospitals. As a Navy SEAL, more than 100 combat missions, Silver Star for bravery, including an intense enemy braving intense enemy fire to rescue 2 wounded Iraqi soldiers from a kill zone while he was deployed to Ramadi in 2006. Bronze Star Medal with the V device, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal with the Combat V, Combat Action Ribbon, blah, blah, blah. Just
so if you're listening and you don't have a ton of military experience, remember back a few weeks ago, if you listen, where we talked about my combat awards, that's 1V. All of those are lesser. Mine is lesser awards than all of those. So he got a Silver Star, a Bronze Star, a Navy Com, all with V's.
Yeah.
And over 2 deployments. That's not over like 10. That's over 2 deployments.
And that's before this next part. Then he went on to deploy as a Navy SEAL combat medic to Ramadi and Sadr City, Iraq, both of which were among the most dangerous places in the country at the time. He said he decided to go to medical school afterwards because he was inspired by the doctors he worked with. I made promises to a lot of people that I lost that I would spend the rest of my life doing something good, something positive for the world, because they left a void when they died. And I know they would have been successful, making the world a better place had they lived. Those are big shoes for me to fill. At that point in time, I felt medicine was a good platform to spread the goodness, to leave that positive contribution. Holy shit, what a good human being. What a wonderful man.
I stand by what I say. I think he's the most fuckable person ever in American history. Based on resume alone.
I think he's just a lovely guy.
But seriously, Kate, I think you don't want to go down this road, but we have to. Like, we have to. If you find somebody, there's people that would
ask him, but if he asked me, of course.
I would if he asked me. I mean, we're talking about Navy SEAL. People find Navy SEALs attractive on its face. Like that, you could go to a bar. There's a reason why that Stolen Valor account focuses on SEALs so much, because so many people lie about being SEALs. Mm-hmm. A Harvard, not just a doctor, which people try to get with doctors anyway, but a Harvard trained doctor that worked in a women's hospital in the emergent care, and then an astronaut.
It almost sounds like it
sounds fake.
Could be the plot of Catch Me If You Can too. He's like the next Frank Abagnale, but he gets up there and they find out he's not really an astronaut. Like, wait a minute, are you just really good looking?
He could be, and he is an attractive fella.
He's attractive too. That's the craziest part.
I bet his wife's an absolute smoke show.
And smart to boot, most importantly, with a great mind.
So I was talking to you earlier, and I think it's a good thing to discuss. How much do you think, like, let's say a thimble, because I don't think you need much, like how much a thimble of his semen would be worth?
I don't want to do that.
Well, why?
Why? I have too much respect for him now.
No.
Talk
just
about it.
Somebody else. Okay, let's do it. Let's
make up a person.
Like whenever you're doing AI image making. Okay. Like you say, make this image look like Kamala Harris, but it doesn't have to be Kamala Harris.
That's gotta be a thing out there somewhere in some country. Probably here.
What?
Like super successful.
Stud farming.
Smart dudes.
Yeah.
Like sell their sperm for
Call it
way
stud
more
farm.
Than a regular dude.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like, because there is those like high end. There's absolutely
some
high
secret
end
rich person sperm club.
I don't think it's secret. Like, I'm gonna look up buying cum, like buying semen from doctors. Let's see if we could do it. Chicago Sperm Bank. You can go in there. You could tell them what kind of line, what level of intelligence that you want. That's top shelf jizz.
I'll be damned.
I mean, it's like a 20-year Johnny Walker Blue.
I would be embarrassed if I went in and I was like, how much are you going to give me for my sperm? And they're like, $10. And I had a friend who got way more for it. That would be tough.
Oh, they do have tiers based on, jobs and intelligence level.
They do.
So right now, like at a normal clinic, $1,000. But you have to imagine there's like an apothecary. Or
there's some secret thing out there, absolutely, for super hot, smart, rich people where they're trading sperm.
How much?
0.
Okay, so let's place.
I
It's
love my
strictly
boys just the way they
strictly
are.
hypothetical. You don't have kids. You're 25-year-old Kate. There's no kids. You also don't have a partner. Like, so you don't have to consider.
Like this answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want a super mega elite brainiac kid that was like, you're the lady who bought my sperm. Ugh, great.
But you got half that kid's DNA.
And he'd be like, you watered me down. You watered me down. I would feel bad about myself.
I didn't think about the disappointment.
Yeah.
I think.
No offense to me. A little bit.
If I was a birth giver and I could have the opportunity to have a Jonny Kim, or let's say I'm Jonny Kim. I'm setting myself out for $100,000. $100,000. I mean, Secretariat. I think he was like $1.5 million.
I'm telling you, there's a secret rich person club out there that 100%.
What do you think you have to do to get into that club?
Be super rich and successful. And then at some cocktail party somewhere, someone approaches you and is like,
Oh, being a recruiter for that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
What a compliment.
Yep.
Can you imagine? I would be gassed up forever. If
I would have a hard time believing it was real though and not a scam.
Oh, if it was me?
No. Yeah. Yes, dude. Hey, yeah.
If I was like, Kate, after the podcast, you're not going to believe it. Somebody came up and they were like, hey, dude, the only reason why I couldn't, vasectomy. I'm out.
A lot of people getting those lately.
Yes. How did Chase go?
Great.
Yeah. All right, good for him. All right, let's move on to round number 3. Do you want to explain what it is?
Do we have the story? I'd like to.
No.
Okay, because you don't want me paraphrasing.
No, I do want you paraphrasing. You've heard the story. If you listen to this show, you are obviously military centric enough to know what's the biggest story that's in the last 5 days.
I know, but I don't want to get the details wrong. I paraphrasing here. I'm probably wrong, like the space capsule people. The anniversary of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, and notably the Abbey Gate bombing, which killed 13 U.S. service members, was last week. Last week now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a time warp bubble with my kids. 3 of the families of the 13 invited Donald Trump to Arlington National Cemetery to lay wreaths on the grave. Trump showed up with a bunch of his campaign staff. I'm saying a bunch. I don't know how many.
Yeah.
And Arlington was like, you can absolutely come on in, do the wreath thing, whatever, but we're asking you, it's federal law to not come in here with your cameras and stuff. It's federal law that this is hallowed ground and it cannot be used for political campaign purposes.
Which is good.
Yes, that's a good thing. And I wouldn't care. I know we say this a lot, but I mean it with my whole heart. I wouldn't care which side politically was doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I fully agree with that. You cannot use that space. If you've ever been there, it truly is hallowed ground, or to any military cemetery for that matter. Part of the reason being too, they have their own staff there that takes photos. They have their own set, like they're the ones who do that stuff. And 2, sure, you might want this politician there or whatever, but those graves photographed in the background, maybe their families don't want their dead child used in some kind of political game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the Arlington staff was like, no, you can't come in here with all these cameras. Some kind of kerfluffle occurred where one of these staffers was pushed apparently by one of the Trump aides and just like pushed right past her when she was telling them, no, you can't do this. They went. Trump is seen in front of the gravesite of Sergeant Nicole G with her family. And in one of the more viral photos, and people, I
think this part was taken way out of context.
This part was taken way out of context. There was a photo of him giving a thumbs up at the grave, and he's smiling, giving a thumbs up, and people were like, I can't believe he's smiling, giving a thumbs up at Arlington. But if you looked at the picture, her family was all smiling and laughing and having a moment of joy, which I feel like is probably kind of rare for them. And she always did the rock and roll hand symbol, and so they're giving the rock and roll hand symbol. I was on Twitter and people were zooming in. What do these hand symbols mean? This must be some racist thing. This must be
like
They were attacking
off,
her
man.
family. They were whatever. It's like, you don't understand grief or any of that stuff. Like that, I thought was crazy. To attack any of the Gold Star families for something like that was like banana lands to me. But anyways, I digress. A couple days later, or a day or two later, a TikTok comes out from the official Trump campaign of him at Arlington. And that to me made me disgusted. Like, if Biden or Harris or anybody else on either side did that, I would be disgusted. I would have to like rethink everything. And people were saying it's a good thing because he's bringing a highlight to all the troops, the troops that are buried there, and a highlight to what happened and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. It's using these troops. You're posting that for a political, like,
the images.
Yeah. And you know for a fact that there's graves there that other families might not want you there. You're causing...
And they said that there was.
Like, there's Gold Star families that were caused great pain by this, that really, really were upset by this and devastated by this. So, and maybe even people who are Republican who felt that way. Like, I imagine if my kids were buried there and I saw any politician at all making a TikTok about being there, under the guise of I'm just bringing attention to whatever, like, please get fucked. Like, that's... Yeah, there's no defending that to me.
It was the images at Arlington that I thought that was wrong. Like, the other aspects of what Trump is doing, sure, distasteful, but I don't have any problem with him having 7 of the 13 family members on his Truth Social, like, talking shit. Like, I feel like if that's what those families want to do, they more than have the right to go out and do anything. If Trump wants to rail against Harris and Biden for the withdrawal, I think that that's fair game too. Like,
go to town.
And like, not taking his responsibility on his part of the deal, totally fine. Like, that's politics in and of itself. But to have the pictures of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and then the thumbs up there, and like you said, I don't think the thumbs up thing is a big deal at all. Like, I feel like, because I mean, we know people that have been killed in combat, and I've gone to graves of people that I knew and had sat there and we rolled Yahtzee on there because we played together all the time, or we smoked a cigarette or smoked a cigar right by there and had like a little glass of Jack Daniels. Like, I've done all that stuff because it brings back the humanity. And Nicole Gee apparently made the rock and roll symbol and like all the pictures that she took. That's why it's there. Like, there's certain things, but that's the reason why Section 60 doesn't want you to take pictures for political purposes there. Like, if those family members took those pictures on the cell phone with Trump there and they posted it on social media, zero problem whatsoever. And then even if the campaign picked it up after that, but to have your official people go and take that picture, I mean, you couple that with a couple weeks ago where Trump said that the Medal of Honor isn't as good, or he would rather have the Presidential Medal of Freedom than the Medal of Honor. It's just another long line of like, you should be, especially when you've been president for 4 years, you should have more wherewithal of where you're at and the type of respect that place demands.
Yeah, it was just like kind of a bummer. And people pointed out, I guess Biden in one of his campaign ads from the last campaign, there was a still photo, like just a quick second of him that he used at Arlington. And like, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think that's like, because people kind of know which way we lean politically and like, and the way that we talk, but we'd be fast to say Biden fucked this up.
I would probably be saying it way worse.
Yeah, because you have that. I have that expectation.
Yes, I would probably be saying I hated it way more if it had been someone on. And
we've said it on Biden and Harris for the withdrawal from Afghanistan 100 times.
Yeah. I also think too, say you want to use the troops to further your campaign. I really think the best way he could have done that was to not bring in a camera crew and let word of mouth get out. While Trump was here, you hear President Trump was there. He came by himself.
Yeah.
And he spent time talking to all the families and blah, blah, blah. And those stories ring out. Was it like different generals and stuff every now and then will be seen at Arlington, like walk out, and those stories make the rounds. And it's like, oh, you have a whole new respect for this person because you feel like, oh, they really do care.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't bring any fanfare. They didn't take any pictures. They were there specifically for the fallen in that section. And like, That to me is way more powerful. And the only way I would believe you had genuine intentions as a politician is if you go without the cameras.
Yeah, and nobody's doing that.
No.
Because I mean, I think it all boils down to they don't really care.
And honestly, again, I'm just so disillusioned at this point. I feel both sides. If they have a chance to use a veteran as a pawn in any way, they're going to do it. This to me was just particularly wildly egregious. And yeah. I hated it. Thanks.
Put Kate down in the hated it column. All right, let's move on to some save rounds and alibis. You got anything?
Oh, nothing really. I gave up on fashion.
Again? You were back
for a couple weeks. I had jeans with holes in them. It was really cool.
Why'd you give up? You're doing such a great job.
I know. I'm even wearing my oldest pair of Mizuno running shoes.
I saw those. I was a little disappointed because you've been having such a. That's good stretching. Good for you, Kate.
I know. Thanks. I've been doing PT still.
I was disappointed when I saw your shoe game has been good.
I know. I wore 2 wrong shoes on the yak, and then shoe companies started sending me shoes.
Smart.
Which is cool. It wasn't on purpose, but it worked out pretty well.
Smart.
I'm trying to think, what do I have going on? Already planning my trip back east for the holidays. Gonna load up on pork roll, pork roll, egg and cheesers, and
I went to the lake and for Lake Michigan for Labor Day. It was absolutely lovely. I'm full blown bike dad. Loaded up the bikes on the back of my car. We headed down, rode around on the beach for a little bit. There was a dude that's an absolute legend down there. He was wearing, it was a ladies bathing suit. I think he got it from Zara, maybe Shein.
Probably Shein.
Yeah, and his he had it tucked in his butt.
Okay,
not just homemade thong action, but he flossed himself with it. Was walking around, long, scraggly kind of blonde hair that was curly,
tan as a motherfucker,
tan as shit. Went rocking. No shoes, nothing but his bathing bottom
hot dog
and ripping heaters.
Yeah. I was telling you this before the show. Every beach town, I feel like has the tan guy, like the main character, super tan guy who's like a leather baseball glove, still smokes, but is like super healthy at the same time in a weird way. Probably a former gunny, for being honest. If I had to guess.
Yeah, or Master Sergeant has been divorced 10 times.
Yeah.
That guy had to have 1 million divorces.
Easily.
Love
that for you. Great.
Yeah, I love that for me too. But that's, another great weekend here.
Yeah, I rambled because I don't have anything crazy going on, I guess.
No. Also, this job is fucking awesome because if you'd have told me when I was 12, 13 years old and the Jags became a team that I would know the owner one day.
That Tony Khan would come strolling in and be like, hey, chaps.
Yeah, the Jags owner's son was in the office today and we got to hang out for a little bit. Just a great dude. Has me even more ready for the season opener this weekend.
President of wrestling?
Yeah, AEW, the general manager of Fulham, the EPL team.
And our former producer, Nick.
Was here
back
too.
on the grind. He was here working on wrestling. So if you're into, I feel like there's a big cross section of military and wrestling fans. Wrestling is back. RASSLIN. Like and subscribe.
I think you want to do the River of Doubt next week.
Yeah, let's do it. Also, I have an interview that I gotta squeeze in here somewhere sometime soon. So let's do River of Doubt and a little interview.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
All right, we'll see you guys then. Sound the retreat.